Hello, 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 Facebook. It is Lene Javette the Mobilist. This is FNQ, Fly Nubian Queen. Usually you see me on Fridays for my Fly Nubian Queen Roundtable, Queen's Roundtable, but today I'm doing a little bit of something different. I think I'm going to call my Wednesday chats Wednesday weigh-ins. I'll be asking various questions of Black women across the world, across the country, across the globe, to weigh in on some different topics. Okay, so today's topic is going to be sex. We're going to talk about sex today. And the reason why we're going to talk about sex is because I was having a conversation with my good friend Marci Batiste, who you can see. She's the other young lady that's with me. Hey, Marci. I'm going to give Marci a chance to introduce herself in a hot second. I'm going to tell you how this conversation came about so that you know why we're having this conversation about sex, right? So me and Marci were having just a regular, girlfriend conversation, talking about sex between the two of us, and a venture that she has called a casual drink, which we're going to talk about momentarily. And I was like, how can you manage being professional, being in corporate America, and talking about sex? Like, it's kind of taboo to talk about sex so openly, right? A lot of times people are disrespectful, they're mean, they're rude, they don't take you seriously when you're talking about sex. And so we were having that conversation between the two of us, and I was like, oh my God, let's have this conversation with other women, because I think that this is a conversation that more women want to have and want to talk about. So that's how we got to being here today, right now, able to talk about sex. So with that being said, I'm going to let my girlfriend Marci introduce herself. Marci, will you tell people who you are, give them a little bit of insight about what you do, and then we'll talk about a casual drink.
Okay, awesome. Thank you, Lene. This is exciting for me. It's one of my favorite subjects, is to be able to talk about sex and talk about it with my girlfriends, right? So my name is Marci Batiste. I am America's #1 reality-based success and recovery trainer. What does that mean? It means we do life coaching and provide life and business coaching services that are reality-based. And so what happens with a lot of people is they don't have it. We're operating off of perception. And oftentimes our perception is only based off of our limited experiences, right? So you have to learn how to question what is real and true, what is reality versus what is perception, because oftentimes those thoughts then turn into emotions, and emotions then turn into behaviors. And it's the behaviors that other people see, and it's the behaviors that teach people how to be in relation with you, right? And so in Ultimate Power Coaching, which is my life and business coaching service, we really focus on the 360 degree. So we want to look at, I always tell my clients, I can't separate your life from your business, and I can't separate your business from your life. So I can teach you how to be the best entrepreneur. I can teach you how to climb the corporate ladder. I can do all of that. But if your personal life and your emotional stability is a train wreck, guess what? The train's gonna wreck, right? Yeah. And so that's really the foundation. And I came across that basically through my own healing and my own personal journey. I was in corporate America for over 30 years. I was in banking. I was successful. I was a vice president of one of the largest independently owned financial institutions in the country. And emotionally, personally, I was in chaos. So that transition when I left corporate America, and I said, you know what? Let's share these stories. Let's have these these open conversations and these dialogues.
So Monique, I see your comment, Monique, and let me tell you this. That's a good question, and I'm glad you brought it up, Monique, because I meant to preface that with this. Monique says, "Is this from the Jada Pinkett Smith series?" That's a good question, and I'm glad you brought it up, Monique, because I meant to. No, it's not. I actually talked with Marci last week. I scheduled this conversation with Marci last week before the Red Table Talk on sex. It just so happens that it coincides with that. So that's just divine energy. We actually had put this on the calendar last week before that, but that does give us some more perspective to have this conversation, because I did watch that and I was like, oh my God, that's exactly what we're talking about this week. So it just lined up.
I got to watch that. I haven't seen this week yet.
It's really good. It's really good. let me see. Hold on one second, you guys. I'm trying to pull up Fly Nubian Queen so that I can actually see your comments while we're having this conversation. Give me a second so I can see your comments while we're talking. There we go. All right, now I can see your comments. Okay, there we go. Monique said, that's why I asked. Yeah, no, this was a week. Me and Marci were talking last week. And so Marci has this thing called a casual drink. And a casual drink is a Facebook group as well as an Instagram page where she talks about sex. And I mean, she talks about, where's my phone? She talks about sex, like in a way that can make you uncomfortable. I'm going to see if I can pull up a post or two to show you to tell you guys about some of the things that she's talking about. And again, the reason why I thought that this is interesting is because I think that there's a lot of women out there that are sexual beings. You enjoy sex, you like sex, you want to be able to talk about sex, right? Frederick said, hi, Marci. You want to be able to talk about sex, but you might not feel like it's acceptable. You might not feel like people are going to accept it. So some of the things that, let me see, I'm going to pull this up on, I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to pull up some of these conversations.
So one of the things, Lene, that you said it makes people uncomfortable. And so one of the things, whether I'm talking about domestic violence, whether I'm talking about sex, or I'm talking about growing your business, I'm talking about your personal relationships, your business relationships, I think that we have to move in a space where we get comfortable being uncomfortable until we are truly comfortable with the subject matter, right? And that's a casual drink on Instagram. And so there's a Facebook group that is for women only, because I think that we have to have a safe space to have conversations that is girl talk, right? Where the guys don't get to partake in it, that sort of thing. But the Instagram is a public page. It's co-ed. It is, unisex. And the topics are, like you said, some of them are outlandish, some of them are outrageous. But what I love about it is it allows people, myself included, to just be honest about the things that we find funny, the things that we find interesting, the things that we find attractive, and it opens up a dialogue. But the interesting thing was, like I said, the Facebook group is for women only, but the Instagram is co-ed. And so it was a test with the Instagram to say, okay, if you as a woman go out there and you go all in talking about sex, everything from anal sex to oral sex to standard sex to outrageous sex, whatever it is, masturbation, the whole 9 yards, will you still be respected? Can you do that? And the answer is yes.
The answer is yes.
The answer
I think women feel, and women, the ladies that are on here tell me, I don't think women feel as confident talking about sex. I think, one-on-one, I think one-on-one, when you're with your man and you're in an intimate space, it's okay. But to talk about what you like openly, because some of the things that you post, like I'm like, oh my God, I feel that exact way, but I'm like, oh, I don't know if I could share. I don't know if I should talk about it. Monique said, oh, that looks gritty. And Monique says, yes, but we think like men, like we get excited, we get horny, we want to have sex the same way that men do. Men are very vocal, they're very open, they're very honest. And we just say, oh, that's how a man is. But when a woman does it, she's being too aggressive, she's being a hoe, she's tacky, she's petty. Do you think there's a double standard about how we can talk about sex?
So I think it goes back to how we are brought up from little girls, right? I call it the Disney syndrome. I hope Disney never comes for me because I always use that as an example. But it's the stories that we're taught as little girls. You got to find your Prince Charming. He's going to save you, this, that, and the other thing. We have to teach women that it's okay to be independent and have our own thoughts and our own feelings, and to be able to express them in a way that feeds our soul and allows us to communicate who we really are. How does someone ever get to know you if you're not comfortable putting out who you really are? And there are a lot of conversations that guys probably shy away from with women because we come across as like, we're not open to it, or she probably doesn't talk like that. She probably doesn't do those things. I mean, when I started a casual drink, it was one of those things where people, I didn't announce that the Instagram was out there. So people just stumbled across it. You know how to say your friend is on Instagram ads. And so people would stumble across it. So I had everything from, I think somebody hacked your page. I think somebody's using your picture. I think, all of this stuff. And it was because they had a perception of who I was based on my social media profiles on Facebook, type of business that I'm in, the industries that I serve, how I interact with clients, and how I conduct myself, right? That was a shock. So like, oh my God, like, because the very first post was about anal sex. Like I went all in immediately, all in. And people were like, guys, like my guy friends are DM, what are you doing? And
putting all your business out in the street.
I'm like, I'm being me. I'm having the conversations that I want to have. It's just like comedians, right? So you have comedians that curse. You have comedians that talk about sex. You have comedians that are Christian. You have comedians that, really, really toe the line. It's a very straight and narrow. It's a very vanilla comedy. It doesn't make one or the other more funny, per se. It's just about your individual taste. So what I always say is, I'm not everybody's cup of tea, but none of us are. But we still need to be able to be expressing who we truly are.
Do you think women shrink themselves sexually? And let me say this way, and I want Monique, Reed, I want you guys to answer this too. Do you think that women don't truly express themselves sexually because there's a stigmatism of being overly sexual? So for example, we always say that the man wants to have the most sex. He wants to do it twice a day, 3 times a day. He wants to do it here. He wants to do it in the bath. Like, we put these things off on the women and men. Do you think women have that same drive and it can be just as freaky and do those same things, but we have to shrink ourselves because we have to be ladylike?
No, I think we have to shrink ourselves. So I'm going to tell you what, if you have any man and you're like, babe, let's go. Like, and we also have this myth that like we've led men to believe that sex has to be this long drawn out with the rose petals on the bed and the champagne drinks and all that kind of stuff. Well, really, you like, babe, drop him, I got you. And he's just going to be like, what? You blow his mind because that's not what he's expecting. And so do I think that we have to shrink ourselves? Absolutely not. Do I think we do? Yes, but it's voluntary. It's something that we put on ourselves as a woman that either you were maybe taught it in church, that you behave a certain way, and depending on your church demographic, the denomination that you belong to, there are different positions on it as far as that goes. What you were taught in the home, the community that you run in, the circle that you run in. I know one of the big things is oral sex, right? And so when I came up, I remember like older girls being like, only hoes give blowjobs. So I was like, okay, only hoes give blowjobs. But then the first time I tried it, I realized that's not that bad. Then I realized I kind of like it. So those are the things. So you have to be free to discover who you are. And if you're constantly trying to be what somebody else expects, then you miss out on so much. I'm like, how much amazing sex would I have missed out on if I'd never tried blowjobs because somebody told me it was for hoes? Some people
we learn about sex. Sex is made to be a bad thing from a woman's perspective. Right. I always go back to The Color Purple when she was just laying there like he did his business on me. Like, what? Right. If you're not getting enjoyment, you're just laying there. And I did that for many years. But hold on, I'm going to come back and talk about that. Rita says, when I was open with my husband, he called me a nymphomaniac and said that I turned him off with talking like that. He said it was not ladylike.
And like I say, it's all about a taste. So like when I take that back to the comedians. You have the vulgar comedian, you have cursing comedian, you got the Christian comedian. They serve different audiences. One's not any more or less funny. It's basically up to your personal taste. But see, that's the thing. Like, I love that she said that because that's the conversations you have to be willing to have with your partner so that he can understand, like, well, I think I'm trying to serve you by doing this. I'm trying to add to our relationship. Like, we have to get comfortable having those conversations with our partners so that they understand where we sit, maybe because like one of the other things is, if you try something new and then they're like, Where the hell did you get that from? Where'd you learn that? What you been doing? Who you been talking to? You been messing around? Like all these thoughts, because we just want to explore. And it might have been something that's been on our minds for a long time. Now we're in a committed relationship. And now is the time. Like once you're in a committed relationship, you should be able to explore. You should be able to comfortably navigate what happens in your home, in your bedroom, and with your bodies. And people just aren't comfortable with those conversations.
If you have too much sex or you're too good at sex, you get judged for that too. If you're not good at sex, you get judged. If you're too good at sex, you get judged. If you talk about sex, you get judged. If you don't talk about sex, you're a prune. There's like there's no way. So, but back to what I was saying. I remember when I first started having sex, I didn't understand what sex was. Like I was having sex for all the wrong reasons. I was having sex because I thought that was the way to get the boys to like you. So I was having a lot of sex, but I was not having having orgasm. I was not experiencing the full realm of sex, and that mentality grew up with me because I didn't have anybody to talk about sex with, because it was taboo. Like you don't talk about sex. Even now, I think as being older. When you talk with your girlfriends, you high five and slap, how was it? Was it big? But you still don't talk about orgasms. You still don't talk about, how your body reacts and reflects. Like we still just are not a very open community when it comes to talking about sex. So we are misinformed. We have the wrong ideologies. Some people don't even know their bodies. One of the things I did enjoy when I watched the Jada Pinkett Smith's conversation on sex was they were talking about, she was talking about masturbation. She was talking about toys. She was talking about her experiences with that. And she said she was addicted to pleasing herself.
Right.
Do you think that, can we talk about masturbation? Can we talk about pleasing ourselves? You don't really hear people talk about it. And when you go to the toy store, you see people in there with their Pink Panther jacket and their hat on pulled down low so nobody sees them in there shopping. You don't talk about the things that please you, or you don't show somebody else how to please you. I went through a lot of years where I was just not pleased, and I did not know how to say this isn't good for me.
Okay, so a couple things. Number one, I was a virgin until I was almost 18. And when I decided to give up my virginity, I did it because I had lost 2 boyfriends before that, because I wouldn't have sex. So that sent a message, right? That laid a track about what sex is and the value and so forth. So fast forward, I went through this I was married for almost 20 years. And so I had only had 2 partners before I got married. And so then when I got divorced, I felt like I needed to make up for lost time. Oh shoot, there's so much I haven't done, because I'm a different person at 35 than I was at 17 when I met who's now my ex-husband, right? So I wanted to experiment. I wanted to explore. So it's interesting because even then I would explore with a partner, but I never really learned how to explore with masturbation. I was still under didn't really know how to do it. My finger's not really big enough. I wasn't really comfortable. The toy store still had the nasty black bags with the pervert guy walking around from the black screen with the videos and all that kind of stuff. And so I had all these mental blocks in my mind until I got with one partner, and he was like, "Don't you have a vibrator or something?" And I was like, "No." And he took me to the toy store for the first time. And I've never looked back since. And so that's one of the things that we do with the casual drink. The ladies can I've taken them on toy store tours. We'll go one-on-one, and I'll take them to the toy store. We look at the vibrators. We go into the dungeon. We're looking at the lingerie. We're looking at the lubes, the oils. What's this for? What's that for? And we have those girlfriend conversations, because had he not taken me to this toy store, I might have missed out on 20 years of great masturbation. Who knows? I never would have went, right? That's what I'm talking about. You have to have a place where you can be safe to learn this stuff. You have to have a place where you can be safe to explore. You have to let guys know, no, I really like sex, and that's okay. But you will respect me.
I like that. So the normal conversation when we're talking about women and we're talking about sex or the normal, I guess we should say quote is a lady in the streets and a freak in the sheets.
Right.
Tell me how you interpret that. What do you think that means? Like, I know everybody knows pretty much what it means. You want to be feminine and ladylike in the streets, but then at home you can be nasty, but you can't mix the two.
Why? And my interpretation is I'm not going to fake the funk. I'm going to be a lady in the sheets as well. And when I think of it in that context, I think that between you and your partner, that determines what your roles are. And so you might have a partner that wants you to be more dominant. You might have a partner that wants you to be more submissive. And as a woman, being able to navigate, like, okay, where is my comfort zone? What is my partner like? How can I acquiesce to that without compromising who I am and what I want? Like, I still want to have my needs met, but I also still want to give. So for me, for instance, give you an example. I was, like I said, a corporate executive for many years, entrepreneur now. And so I have to always make decisions. I have to be in control. I have to have my shit together. Like, that's kind of, so for me, the bedroom is a place for me to just be me. It's a place where I can just be flexible. It's a place where I can be submissive. I can let someone else take control. But if you need me to take control, let's do this. Like, I got you. But those are the conversations you got to have. If you're not comfortable either taking on the lead role or falling back, and some people hear submissive and they think abuse.
Freak out.
You know what I mean? Submission isn't abuse. Submission can serve you very, very well, because when you talked about having an orgasm, you have to be able to be completely relaxed. And oftentimes, if we feel like we have to drive the bus, it's hard to relax. Where if you can submit and let him explore your body, then oftentimes it's easier to have an orgasm because you can completely relax.
I remember this one time hearing this man, as you're talking, I'm like, I think men make, I think, and I don't know if there's any men here, I think men make it complicated for us to talk about sex. And I say that because men have their own ideologies on what type of sexual conversations should be respected. And what I mean by that is a man is okay with having anal sex with you, having oral sex with you, and things of that nature in private and quiet with him. But he doesn't want you to talk about it, speak about it, be vocal about it as a woman yourself. So I think kind of like men are the reasons why it is perceived as being non-ladylike to have sexual conversations. But yet,
well, it's never anybody else's fault.
Go ahead.
Never anybody else's fault. That's how you feel about it. That's your interpretation based on your past experiences, your perception. Mm-hmm. So yeah, so in your past, there may have been conversations where people have said things that you interpreted a certain way to say, oh, I probably shouldn't talk about that this way because then I'm going to be judged for this. The other thing is learning to shed the whole judgment thing, which is hard to do. Like, it's not easy to really truly walk in a space where you're not really fazed a whole lot by what people say.
Well, a lot of women feel that way, actually. Rita says she agreed, but right. I think it depends on, one, how you carry yourself, right? So to your point, if you care, I'm conservative. So in the public persona, I'm extremely conservative. If you see me in this manner, if you know me up close and personal, you know I'm not that conservative. And if you know me in the bedroom, you know I'm extremely not conservative. But
now everybody knows you're extremely not conservative.
But when you're keeping up with personas, that you don't ever bring your sexuality into it. Like, I think about how low cut is my shirt if I'm getting online. I think about, how much of my body am I showing, because I don't want to be taken as she's supposed to be a leader. She's supposed to be a speaker. Why did she dress like that? So when you start thinking, because I almost wore this lace shirt I almost wore this lace shirt today just to prove a point that said something to the effect of, if you over-sexualize yourself or you show your boobs or you have too much out, people completely discredit everything else that you're saying. And then they only focus in on the sexual piece that you have, especially, both of us as speakers, we're thinking about what we have on. We're thinking about what we dress. Is this skirt too tight? Am I going to be those pieces of being over-sexualized? Those things affect. it should be as simple as, you know what, I'm going to wear this lace shirt today with my bra hanging out, and I'm going to talk about how to make your money, and not be taken as, why she got that lacy shirt on? Why can't she put something else on? Why she got her boobs hanging out? That's what I'm talking about. Like, we let, sometimes, not we and not everybody, I don't want to make a blanket or general statement, but we let society determine what's too sexualized and what's not. Because I think you can do things classy. I don't think you have to be, you know, with your nipples hanging out. That's not what I'm saying. But you should still be able to be, you know, a little risque. You know, we're going to have your what is this called? If you want your shirt to come down to your navel, you should be able to have your shirt come down to your navel.
Well, mine never makes it that far, but anyway. So a couple things. When I listened to what you were just saying, one is there's a difference between sexy and over-sexualized.
Okay.
And I think that people often equate exposure with sexy, when oftentimes you can remain very much covered up. Sexy is a mindset in many ways. Sexy is about how you carry yourself. Sexy is about wearing clothes that fit properly, not necessarily that expose you. So you can wear oversized clothes and not, then you know, the whole tomboy thing, then you can wear the too tight stuff. But if you wear clothes that fit, that show off your shape, show off your form, if you got nice breasts and they sit up all perky and you want to accentuate that, cool beans, do that. But you also have to realize, depending on the environment you go into, how that's going to be interpreted. And there are still very ultra conservative industries. I was a banker, for instance. I can wear things now as an entrepreneur, as a speaker, that is acceptable. I'm still going to be respected. I'm still going to be taken seriously, but I could have never worn it in the bank, for instance. Right. But even as a banker in my bank gear with my banker smile on, I was still oftentimes perceived as sexy, because it's how you carry yourself. It's how you engage in conversation. It's the level of comfort that people feel with you. You get an openness, you get a certain vibe off of people. But I think that we still, because society's come a long way, but we still have a long way to go. So I'm not suggesting that anybody just go all out there in, you know, like a bikini top underneath a button down with all of this out. I'm not saying that, because you still have to navigate your space. You still have to navigate your comfort zone. You still have to navigate your environment and realize, how do I become my true self, and how do I let this reflect who I genuinely am, but still fit in and navigate in these very different spaces. And so you kind of become sort of a chameleon, right? Like, yeah, I have a closet full of lingerie. Am I going to wear it on stage when I'm speaking? No. Am I going to wear it, you know, when I'm working with one of my clients? No, that's not what that outfit is for. And so just like you have your church dresses, you got your club clothes, you got your bedroom attire, like those are all parts of who we are. Those are in most of our closets. It's just a matter of knowing and being comfortable putting on each one in each environment.
So, a question, and ladies, Rita, you guys can answer this one too. I definitely want to hear from women. If you are not being satisfied sexually, how do you broach that with your partner?
So goes back to,
and I say that because, and again, ladies weigh in. I believe I am sure that there are a lot of women that, and I use this word suffer lightly, but suffer through sex because they don't know how to say, I don't like this, or I want this, or I like it this way. And you just go through it without expressing. A lot of them say, no, I'm not going to lay down and have sex with you if I don't enjoy it. But there are a lot of women that are laying down and they're not getting anything out of the situation because they don't know how to speak about sex, talk about sex, or express what they like, what they don't like, if they're hurt, if they're in pain. They don't know how to talk to the person, or they don't want to hurt the man's feelings.
Right. So one of the things that Casual Drink does is sex tutoring, right? Where they can call or they can inbox, they schedule a certain time, and then we have these conversations because it's a very personalized decision when you have that conversation, how you have that conversation. Don't ever have it while you're having sex. Like, that's not the time. There are in the bedroom conversations, there's out of the bedroom conversations. And I think that's when, like, but you have to build on your communication with your partner. Like, you have to be able to truly talk to them about certain things. And, but first you have to get clear about what you really want. First, you have to get clear about where are those feelings coming from? Is it something my partner is doing or not doing? Or is it a perception that I have in my mind that says it should be a different way? Because it's not always the other person. So it's not necessarily that you're just laying down and not enjoying it, but maybe you don't even know how. Maybe you don't know what you want. So it's difficult to be able to navigate that conversation if you're not clear about what it is you really want. You know, am I just not having an orgasm? Is the size of his penis not hitting the spots? Can I introduce toys? You know, what other things can I do that maybe enhance the experience for myself, that I can kind of ease into it. And if one of the greatest things and ways to open up that conversation is go to the toy store together. Just because it kind of puts you in that environment, it gives kind of that energy. It's very relaxed, but you have to know if your partner is open to that, because sometimes, like, men and women are both really uncomfortable with that. And there are guys that are just like, this ain't worth doing. I don't even want to do it because she's like there. But you know, there are certain things when I'll give the kissing in the ear, right? So I don't know if guys go to school and they're taught, you know, that you should lick her ear, but to me that's something that's kind of annoying. And so I just kind of get in the habit where I just kind of move away because that's not what I like. And eventually, if you've done that a couple of times, it sends a nonverbal cue that that's probably not. Or I like to have my neck kissed, but I don't like you sucking and slopping in my ear. Like, that's just ew to me. Like, I hate it. It's such a mood killer for me. But I don't ever say, don't stick your tongue in my ear. Like, that's not the conversation I want to have. But when I move and they get down out of the ear and onto the neck, then I give a verbal cue that yes, that's the spot. And so you can have and indicate those likes and dislikes, but it goes back to the communication. You have to be able to communicate and know what you want, how you want it, and what they can do. Because it doesn't. If you don't know what they can do different, what are you gonna say?
Yeah.
Right. So you have to get clear.
All right. So we're not going to put anybody's age out there, but let's just say over 40. Do you, and you, women, ladies, men, you guys can weigh in on this one. Does sex change after 40? Like, I know for women, you're supposed to be in your prime. Your 40s are supposed to be your prime. So you're supposed to be through the roof in your 40s. And I think, and I could be wrong, that men's comes down in their 40s. I'm not sure. But do you think after 40, sex changes? Does it get boring? Do women not communicate what they want as much? Are men lazy now after 40? Is sex as much fun? Like most of our audience on this page is between 35 and I think 45, 50, something like that. And I've heard that people over 45, 50-ish area aren't having as much sex as they were when they were younger. Should sex change as you get older? Should it be better? Should you be more open? Should you be used to experiment with things? Women over 40, like, I ain't doing that. I don't do that stuff. I ain't young anymore. Like, how does sex change as you get older?
I'm not as flexible as I used to be.
That's a given. Right? We know we're not as flexible.
So they're not going back behind my ears enough. But anyway, I digress. I think it depends. So there's not a cut and dry. And first of all, the word should is an overgeneralization because it's different for everybody and it's different. I might be a 45-year-old with a 65-year-old partner. Is my sex life going to be different than a 45-year-old with a 35-year-old partner? Maybe. 65-year-old might have his little blue pill and be really putting it down. 35-year-old might be lazy and stressed out and da 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 da. So there's so many different components that go into what happens in the bedroom. But you have to make sex a priority, and your sexual experience a priority. You have to be intentional about the experience. And I think sometimes we just think that sex should just happen and everything should just be like firecrackers and sparks. And then we're disappointed when it's not. And so then we try the whole, oh, well, he needs to put rose petals on the bed. We got to have champagne. We got to have music going. No, sometimes like I'm about ready to walk out the door. I'm stressed the hell out and I just need you to hit it real quick. Let me get this taken care of and let me go on about my day. So is that something that you can communicate with your partner? Do you have that relationship where you can just reach over and touch him? Or does he have that relationship where he can just reach over and touch you? Do you have a playful relationship where he can just walk by and give you that love tap on the booty? Like they say everybody loves a butt rub, right? You know, can he just walk up and like squeeze on you? Is that okay? Or are you the type that if he let's say y'all are out somewhere and he comes up and he grabs you on your butt, are you going to be the push his hand away and send the message that I don't want you to touch me? Because you don't know how he's internalizing that. And so oftentimes then he takes it as, oh, she doesn't like to have me touch her there. Well, no, maybe I just don't want you grabbing my ass in public. Like I might be okay with it in the living room, but not at the mall. And then you have the women who are like, no, I want the PDAs. I want you to show me off per se. And so it's all communication. But you have to be intentional about having an amazing sex life, whether you're single or in a committed relationship. You have to be intentional about your level of pleasure. And much of that comes with increasing your comfort level. That's what a casual drink is about. It's about increasing that. Like there's, in my all women face group, there's like, I don't know, it's still small, maybe 190 women in there. I have probably 20 who are just like all in, like whatever goes. We talk about stereotypes. We talk about all the stuff that like you like that's the place where they go when there's something they want to post so bad on their personal page, but they just like, nah, I just probably shouldn't do that. Like that's the place. And then you've got the other 170 women who just sit back and are like, damn. Right. I know, like every now and again you'll say something. But there's
I'm a lurker. And they're like, ooh, yes.
But
so I think so what we have determined today, what we've come to is that women enjoy sex just as much as men.
If not more.
You can be sexual. You can enjoy sex. You can talk about sex and still carry yourself like a lady and be well respected and well received. You should definitely be open when communicating with your partner what you like, what you don't like. And if you're uncomfortable talking about sex, or if you're uncomfortable getting to know your body with the things that you want to do, but you want to have this dialogue, you can go to a casual drink, right? So a casual drink is an all women's Facebook group where you talk about sex.
Right.
Okay.
So casual drink on Facebook is women only, and it's a casual drink. And then casual drink on Instagram is co-ed. And it's always funny to watch the dialogue that I have with the guys. So I don't post a lot of pictures with me, but I post enough where they're like, okay, there's a female behind this page. So they know how to interact and how to engage. But yeah, like even if you just go and you just, like you said, like lurk for a while, see what other women are talking about. See that it's really not taboo. And if you have questions, inbox me. I always say like the DM's open 24/7. Inbox the question. And if you want one-on-one conversations, you want to do the tutoring or whatever, that's always available to you. But you have to first, like I said, you got to be intentional and you got to be clear about what you want. Like that's going to be the same if I'm talking to you about building your business, I'm talking about building an amazing sex life, I'm talking about improving your relationship. You have to have those components. You have to be intentional. You have to be clear.
Yes. So let me just say, I love Marci for so many reasons. There's not even enough time in one day for me to tell you why I love Marci for so many reasons. She is literally, we are like yin and yang. We're ebony and ivory. We are like,
wait, am I ivory?
Huh?
Does that make me ivory?
Yeah, I'm ebony. But you're the black version of ivory. You're not.
Okay.
No, you're like beige.
Okay. My daughters used to call me. They said, "Mama, you're not brown. You're peach."
But she's so awesome. I call on her for so many different things and for so many different reasons. And she lives such an audacious life. She's so bold in so many different areas, and to be able to do what she does, to run businesses, to have worked in corporate America, and then to come out on the other side and be so bold and open and zestful about sex. And I'm like, man, I want to have this conversation because I know me. And again, in private, when it's just me and her, we can go in talking about sex. I can do a lot of things in private that I don't do in the public because I'm always worried about my brand. I'm always going to make sure that, the public, this, that, and other. And so when I'm with her, when I'm talking to her, she's like, who cares about the public? Do you be? I'll be like, okay, well, let's talk about sex. So let's talk about it. And I'm not quite there, just put it out there yet, but I'm more open with the dialogue, right? So you want to get around people and be with people who are having the conversations that you want to have. So that you can be more comfortable talking about what you want to talk about. So I posted the link to a Casual Drink Facebook group in the live thread down below. So if you'd like to join her Facebook group, please do. Make sure you subscribe to FlyNubianQueen.com, the Facebook page, as well as the network. Marci, thank you so much for coming and hanging out with me today. I appreciate you being so open and so honest about sex with myself and the other queens on Fly Nubian Queen today.
I love it. Absolutely. I love the opportunity. Like I told you, I was like, you said, you want to do it? I was like, girl, yeah, I love to talk about sex. Let's do it.
Let's talk about sex.
Let's talk about sex.
Cool. So I will be seeing you guys around. We're gonna head out. Marci has clients. She gotta go talk to people about other stuff besides sex. And I'm gonna go ahead and start my day. I will see you guys back here on Friday at 3:00 for the Queen's Roundtable. Everybody have a good rest of your week, and I'll talk to you then. Bye-bye. Bye, Marci.
Bye.